Hello everybody, it's Donna here from Embrace the Moon Tarot, and I am just going to make this a very quick intro and say that I'm really sorry that I haven't been doing the Tarotscopes lately, but all the feelings and the energy that has been available, I've been feeling all of them. Or at least I feel like I have been. So I've been kind of making myself a little bit of a hermit, but let's see if I can get back into the swing of these and start with February's reading. So let's begin. Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to the Embrace the Moon Tarot in your February 2018 reading. And as I was shuffling, the cards kept jumping out all over the place. So I get a little bit of a sense that you're not in a good place, and I'm kind of curious to see how many times this video will be watched, because I feel like at least at the beginning of the month, you're not seeking advice because you're just not in the mood to hear it. Some of you may be just because it's part of your practice, and you know that by seeking advice such as this, you can tap into energies that are available even if it's not going in the direction that you prefer, or if it's not a message you want to hear. It gives you enough foresight that even when it's happening, you can deal and cope better. But I will be curious to see, because I feel like some of what's going to be said is something that's not going to be, it's going to be known and not want to be heard. Anyway, it's just kind of one of those things that happen during shuffling. And it might not even be all of you. It might just be that minute few. I have no idea. But at any rate, the shuffling was a bit chaotic. So I feel like there's just kind of an overall, it just kind of made me think of a kid with the fingers in the ear going la 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 la. So I have no idea. Hopefully the month ends up turning in the right direction. But until then, let's go ahead and tap into the four corners of the world. That's what I'm doing this particular month for February. And we are looking at mind, body, heart, and soul. And I'm going to start with... I feel so pressing on this one. I feel like this is the one I want to start with. Okay, so we have Five of Cups in the body aspect, and it's really interesting because I feel like this is tying into physical and emotional. So this is the physical world, people in the physical world, but it's a specific person that is going to leave you feeling emotionally upset. There's a relationship that has been happening and had been feeling quite promising, and it's going to end up not being as promising as you had initially had hoped. And I don't feel like the disconnect is going to be complete. It's not going to be that this person's going to be leaving your life. It's just there's going to be this realization that the world that you had built around with the expectation of this particular relationship going in a specific direction is not going to happen that way. And you're still going to be connected with this person. It's just going to be a realization that the connection that you had perceived is not going to be what, and therefore the world is not going to exist that you had developed around this perception and hopes and what have you. So there's going to be a bit of emotional upset, emotional loss as a result of it. And you're just going to have a time where you're just going to have to tend to yourself. And I feel like this might be that moment of, finger in the ear saying, I don't want to hear it. Not so much that it's not that you want to reside in naivety about this. It's just, you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to communicate about it. You don't want to connect to other people about it. You just need a moment to kind of feel all the feelings that result in whatever happens, and possibly be alone by yourself for a little bit and just be with your thoughts, and be with your feelings. But I just find it really curious because this is an actual specific relationship, and it's not in the emotional point of the spread. But I feel like the reason why it's not an emotional point of the spread is because we have this Queen of Swords in the emotional aspect. And this is telling me that as a result of this, there's potential of a little bit of leaning towards becoming a bit cold-hearted. And not to an extreme level, but just a little bit of a chilling, a little bit of a cooling, a little bit of feeling jaded, and as a result of it, what happens whenever this occurs. And so you're just kind of being forewarned that if you start to feel yourself getting a little bit cool in the heart, feeling a bit chilly emotionally, be mindful of that and make sure that, when you are tapping in all the emotions and all the feelings of everything that has occurred, that you don't allow it to completely lock your heart up, and allow it to point you in ways to be wiser. Because I feel that, when these things happen, they're sucky. And we don't always know why that they happen, but once things have done, you can't go back and change anything. What you can do is do with it whatever you can do. And I feel that it can help to make you wiser regarding things of the heart, matters of the heart, and how you connect to people. But there's just such a small margin between being wise with the heart and being cool with the heart. And you want to be wise but not cool. So just be very mindful that you don't go too far on the one side. And you're just kind of tapping into being wiser versus being cool. So that is what's happening in your world and emotionally. And this is kind of connecting also with the mental as a result of this. And I feel that this is the beginning of the month, and this is going to result of this action. And then you're going to be going back and forth, emotionally being cool of the heart and being wise, and, not tapping into the wisdom. But mentally, as a result of this, your thought process, and this is what's going to feed the potential of being cool and jaded. Your thought process is going to be, there's going to be this seed that's going to be kind of planted as a result of it. And these actions that you're going to want to take, you're going to start kind of contemplating a new way of perceiving yourself and how you want other people to perceive, and what you want to give of yourself. And so it's going to have you within the moment almost spontaneously start to kind of change some of your characteristics on how you connect and love and show love. And it's all going to start mentally, kind of like, it's going to be safeguards is what it's going to be. Your immediate reaction to this is going to be safeguards. And as a result of that, you're just going to be wanting to you're going to have mapped out in your head these specific actions that you're going to take so that this will never happen to you again, because you're tired of it. You'll feel so jaded that you just want to do certain things. You'll want to connect or not connect in certain ways, and just it's going to consume your thoughts. And that's where the jaded and potential cool of heart that can occur. And again, there's nothing wrong with feeling like you need to do certain things to kind of protect yourself and take certain actions to protect yourself. And you're not in any way, shape, or form being reprimanded for that, but it's just kind of saying, do what you have to do to kind of safeguard yourself, but again, do it with wisdom. Don't allow yourself to become cool of heart as a result of this. And this is one of those things where it's easier said than done. When you're not experiencing it, you can say all the wisdom and present all these words that you can, but the truth of the matter is that you'll too get to a moment in time where you can pass on such wisdom to somebody else. But as you're experiencing this, that's not going to be in the forefront of your mind, because you're just going to be going through all of these emotions that you're feeling. But just be mindful. Take the safeguards that you're supposed to protect yourself, the actions that you have to. If that means kind of stepping away from a lot of different people because of the connection with this, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with taking the time to feel all the feelings and think through what you have to think through so that you can heal and mend and nurture. But again, make sure that the actions that you're not taking isn't leaving you cold of heart, or even cool of heart, because you have so much love and emotion to give, and it's such a beautiful part of yourself. So you don't want to completely close that off. And it's okay if you close it off for a little bit, because we all need that time. But just be mindful that anything that you close off, it doesn't become permanent, because you still want to give that part of yourself, because it is such a beautiful part of who you are. As a result of all of this occurring, we have in the spiritual aspect the Hierophant. And I feel that there are some of you that, as a result of how all this has occurred, you're going to resort back to some of the spiritual teachings that were ingrained in you from your childhood that you felt that you had broken away from. But it's comfortable because it's what you know. And there's a risk of it not feeding your soul as you think it will. So throughout however, I don't know how long it's taken some of you, but you've reached a point in your spirituality that you've defined from a place of where you are as an adult. But because of all this occurring, you're going to revert back to some of those ingrained in teachings and indoctrinations that we had been given, we received as a child. And because there's such a comfort level with that, because we know it, it's just an intrinsic part of us because it's been such a part of us from such an early age. The problem with that is, like I stated, it's comfortable because it's what you know, but it's not comfortable in the end because it's not what's actually feeding you anymore. Your new sense of spirituality, as you define it as an adult, is where you want to try your best to go, because that's what's feeding who you are as an adult. That's what's going to feed your heart. That's what's going to feed your soul. So be very mindful that if you feel you're reverting back to some of that stuff that was ingrained into you as a child, and you know already from the growth that you've had that it doesn't actually nurture your soul, you might want to take a step back and do what it takes to make sure that you're still connecting spiritually in a way that feeds you who you are now, and not so much just feels comfortable and natural because it's what's been a part of you for such a really long time. So I went ahead and pulled another card to kind of wrap everything up, summarize, or give you a mantra to go through the rest of February. And I actually have pure bliss. And so I just feel that this isn't so much that this is a command. I hate to use the word command. A gentle suggestion that's maybe not so gentle. You're just being told to search for bliss. Search for your bliss, whatever it may be. If it's going to the bowling alley with a friend for a night, go to the bowling alley. If it's going to coffee, go for coffee. If you haven't taken the time to receive a massage for a while, go get a damn massage. Whatever it takes for you to have pure bliss, even if it's for a moment, within that moment, you can let go and experience blissful happiness that feeds you, mind, body, and soul. Go after it. And that means something different for everybody. But I feel that this does mean something more than just drawing a hot bath. It's gotta be something a little bit more proactive, something that you can really immerse yourself into. Hot baths are great. That can kind of take you in and feed you between now and then, but search for something that's really gonna feed that aspect of yourself. And like I said, I feel like, it's going to be yoga every Saturday, or getting a massage, or going bowling with a friend, or something that's going shopping in a different town that you've not been to, staying at a hotel and going swimming, and something that kind of just takes you out of the norm, that makes you happy because you've done it before, but it's just different enough that it gets you out of whatever headspace that you're in right now, or whenever you're going through whatever it is you're experiencing as you progress through February. And do it often, get a massage one day, go to yoga another day, go swimming, whatever. Or go to yoga every week, or get a massage every week if that's something you can budget in something. But just kind of step out of your norm, get out of your headspace. Take the time to get away from this. You can experience this. There's nothing wrong with that. But make sure you take time away from that so you're not getting too cooled apart. And just, search for some bliss and fill yourself with bliss and moments of bliss as often as you can as you progress through the month of February. All right, Sagittarius, I hope you do get the chance to create bliss within the month of February, and I hope I see you again in the next month.